Welcome to the Market & More app. Today I'm going to show you how to upload a store and configure all the settings. So first of all, you want to use our written guide that we have right here. You can start by step one, opening up app.marketandmorecr.com. What you'll notice is that the default language is automatically set to Spanish, so you can actually change that to English. And then you want to go partner with us. And then you want to enter in your store name. Today we're just going to make up a store called Pura Vida Pizza CR. And put in your email address that you're going to use and a phone number. And you're going to want to make a password. Okay, and then all you have to do is click sign up. And then that's going to take you into this screen right here. It's going to give you your store ID number. You can put in the name of your store. So we're going to name it Pura Vida Pizza CR, email. All this is going to stay the same. This is where you can put your address. So if you already have an address that's on Google Maps, you can enter it in here and it'll automatically show up. So let's just say we're like Pizza Hut, for example. Escazú. So if we were Pizza Hut Multiplaza, we could just enter that in right here, but we are not. So I'm just going to make up an address, put Escazú, Costa Rica. Okay, just for an example. And then this is your display address that will show on your profile on the front end. So you can set this to whatever you like. A lot of times it's good to have it the same as your actual address that's shown on Google Maps. So the store name, this is the name that's going to show up on the front end, and you can put it in a description right here. The best pizza in Costa Rica. Okay, your slug, this is going to be the URL of your store. So what it will be is it'll be app. Do an example right here. So it'll be app.marketandmorecr store / Pura Vida Pizza, or whatever you select your slug to be. Background color, we recommend just to keep that white for styling purposes. And the rating bar color, you can use this color right here. It's a green that matches our theme. Of course, you can customize this to whatever you want, but we recommend this because then it's going to match our store and everything will look really nice. Okay, logo, we recommend a high definition logo. It's always best to use high definition and no background. So I'm going to upload a logo that I have here already. Now, one thing that you'll notice is that the banner image for your web, you actually want that to be 1920 by 360. And for the mobile, you want it to be 450 by 250. Here it says 1300 by 326 and 920 by 360. We were working on getting that changed, so just make sure you follow the instructions on the page here. So I'm going to upload those banners. 20 by 360, and this one here. And then rating, you're just going to leave that as not available. There's no selection for that. That's going to be your ratings that the customers will give you. So what you want to do is click save. And then now we're on to the next area, which is the serving area. Now, our recommendation for this is to actually have it within 35 kilometers, so that would be the easiest thing to do, put 35 kilometers. You can play around with this as you like. There's a good chance that nobody's going to go outside of 35 kilometers because you have to keep in mind that the delivery drivers have to accept the job, and anything that's over 35 kilometers they may not accept. And also the person that's making the order has to accept the order, and the delivery fee over 35 kilometers is probably going to be quite a bit. So most of your deliveries are probably going to be within the 10 to 15, 20 kilometer range. But if you like, you can offer your services up to 35 kilometers. It really is up to you to discover, put in whichever you like, but this is just our recommendation. So the easiest way to do this is to set it up as 35 kilometers, and then that'll be a radius around your store location, which would be this address right here. And you can also, so if you want to select that, you can just hit save, but you can also create geofences as well. This can come in handy if you have a certain area that you want to serve. So you can click geofence, add geofence, and then we would search map. Let's say if we're in Tamarindo. Okay, so we'd select that on the map, and then what you can do is you can zoom in to Tamarindo, and let's say your serving area is going to be within here. So what you need to do is you go mark region, and we're going to go, let's say we know it's going to be here. We want to include Langosta, and this is your serving area right here, and then that's it. You want to name it Tamarindo or whatever you like. You can put a description if you like, click save. And you can also have multiple geofences. So let's say if you want to expand later on and you want to service Playa Grande, you could add the geofence here, and you can mark the region again, so you service all of this area right here, just like that, and then click save. Oh, you have to put a name and then save it. Okay, and then you can go back. So for this, we're just going to change it to the recommended 35 kilometers and click save. One thing to note here that's very important is you have an English setting and then also a Spanish setting. So all of this, so your description, you're going to want to make this in Spanish. Pizza in Costa Rica. So you want to change everything for Spanish. The addresses you're going to keep the same, but anything here, of course your name is most likely going to stay the same in English and Spanish, but for things like the description, you're going to want to change that into Spanish. So we're going to click save there. And then one thing that's really cool is we give you a QR code that you can save as a PDF. Now if somebody scans this with their phone, it'll actually bring them directly to your store. So it's a good idea to save this. One thing that you will notice is that there's different service areas for home delivery and then also for takeaway. You can select them here. So if you wanted to have different serving areas for takeaway than home delivery, you can enter them in here. For this purpose, we're actually just going to save this as 35 and keep it the same. Or you can create a geofence as well, just like you did for the home delivery. Okay, now that that's all set up, the next step is going to be going to preferences. And here you're going to want to be setting up first of all, your availability. So the date-wise availability, if you're open every day, 365 days a year, then you can just click every day. But if you want to set a calendar for certain days that you're closed or certain holidays, you can do this here. So let's say, for example, if you wanted to close for the whole month of December, what you'd want to do is click a date range. So you'd start on the date that's today, and then you would bring it all the way to your first day that's going to be closing. We'll call it November the 30th. So that's going to be your open days. You want to add that, and then you want to add another one. That's going to be the next day that you open. So December, let's say you're going to be closed all December. You're going to open back up January 1st, and you are going to be open all the way up until November the 30th of 2025, the following year. So and then you can click save. So that's just an example. You can do this for holidays. If you just want to close for Christmas, you can do that. Or if you have certain months or weeks that you take off, you can set this up that way. Now, this is down below here is your weekly. So if you want to do full-time, then you just click full-time. You're open 7 days a week. But if you're open specific days, then you can select this here. So let's say Sunday, we're closed all day. And then on Monday, we want to select a specific time that we're open. So we can do that here. So let's say we're open at 12 p.m. And we're closed at 10 p.m. Okay, the maximum orders per slot, I would recommend leaving this as don't set any value. However, if you do have a maximum amount of orders that you can only fulfill in a certain time slot, which we'll get to later, we don't recommend a 15-minute time slot. You can add that here. So let's say you can only accept 20 orders every 15 minutes. You'd want to put that in here, but I'd recommend leaving this open. And then if you get overloaded with orders in the future, this is where you can set things up. So you'd want to hit add right here. We're going to close that. So here on Monday, where we have the time slots, we're open from 12 till 10 o'clock. So we could repeat that for every one of our opening days that we're open. For this demonstration purposes, I'm just going to keep it open as all the time, just so we don't have to go through this. But I'd recommend setting up your time schedule here, of course. Okay, moving down here to surge on delivery. We would definitely recommend not charging a surge charge, but we understand that if you do, this means that if you have a certain day or time where you want to charge extra, you can do so. So let's say on Friday is a really, really busy day for us, and it's an inconvenience for us to accept these orders online. So you can click on Friday here, and our rush hour is going to be from, let's say, 5 p.m. to, let's just say, 6 p.m. So that would mean we have a 1 hour surge time where we're really, really busy and we want to charge extra to the clients just because it's an inconvenience for us. And you can choose your surge type. I'd recommend a fixed amount. You can do a percentage, which would be a percentage of whatever the order is. But for this demonstration purpose, let's say fixed. And we want to charge an extra 1,000 colones during between 5 p.m. and 6 p.m. on Friday. And then you just click add here. It's that simple. And you can add multiple ones for that day. If you know, say you had a surge between 12 p.m. and 1 p.m., you could add that in here as well. Okay, scheduling. We recommend that you keep on demand and scheduling on with 15-minute intervals. So you want to click update with that. Now what that means is that when somebody orders from your store, so let's go through the process. Let's add this. Okay. And let's go to checkout. Once we go to checkout here, You can select your address, and then you can schedule an order. If you select this, if that's selected as off, then your clients will not be able to schedule an order, which could be really handy for them. So let's say they want to put in an order for tomorrow at any time that they choose at 2:15 p.m. They can schedule it and then proceed to pay. Otherwise, they will not have this option to schedule the order. Okay, so the next one, merchant status, you do need to keep this on, otherwise your store will not be visible. Accept, reject orders. We highly recommend that you keep this on. If you turn it off, that means that all your orders are going to be accepted automatically. And you definitely want to know when you get an order and be able to accept it or reject it. Otherwise, you might have somebody expecting an order that you don't see, and you might not be able to fulfill that order. So it's definitely recommended to keep that on. That way you'll get notified every time you get an order, and then you'll have to either accept it or decline it. Show store timing. Okay, so we'd recommend keeping this on. So what that means is that the people are going to see your store hours. So you can see here on the profile, it's going to say that you're open from 11 a.m. to 8 p.m. or whatever your store hours are. This is highly recommended. That way, if somebody is seeing your store during off hours, they know what time you're going to be open. Okay, the next step is business categories. You're going to want to put this on because you're most likely going to be adding separate categories, so you'll want to keep this on, and we'll go through that more once we upload the products. So preparation time, this is the amount of time that you need on average for preparation. So let's say we know that it takes us 15 minutes to make a pizza, so we're going to put our preparation time set to 15 minutes, and this will show on your store. So people have an idea of how long it's going to take you to prepare these meals. Okay, apply buffer for every day. We'd recommend keeping this off, but you can put a buffer in the amount of minutes that you want, and this will be for the slots. So if you have a slot, let's say your slots are start at 8 a.m. If you put a 20-minute buffer, then that means your first slot will be at 8:20 a.m. But we recommend just keeping this off, disabled for simple. Time range for scheduled order, we'd recommend keeping this disabled as well. Delivery modes, we'd recommend doing a takeaway and home delivery, of course. That means that with takeaway, people can order from the app and then they come and pick it up. And then home deliveries means that one of our delivery drivers is going to go pick up it and deliver it to your home. So it's definitely highly recommended to offer both of these options. Okay, minimum order amount, that's pretty self-explanatory. If you want the clients to have a minimum order amount of, let's say, 10,000 colones, you can do that and just click save, and then that's going to be the minimum order amount for takeaway. You can do the same thing. You can set that. If it differs, you can change it, but let's just say we want our minimum order to be 10,000 colones. We do recommend keeping this to 0, but this is your preference, of course. Okay, so the maximum orders per slot. So we set our time slots for every 15 minutes is our slots. So let's say that, we'd always recommend just don't set any value for this. However, if you get really busy and you can only handle, let's say, 10 orders every 15 minutes, then you can put a 10 here, update it, and then that means every 15 minutes, the maximum amount of orders that you're going to be able to accept is 10 within that 15 minutes. But for this demonstration purpose, I'm going to recommend just keeping that off. That way your clients won't have any limitations, and you can accept and reject orders as they come in. Okay, catalog. It's up to you if you want to show the out-of-stock items to your customers. You can disable that, which means that if you have any items that are out of stock that the clients will not see them on the front end. If you keep it enabled, that means that they will see your items that are out of stock. So this may be coming handy if you want people to know if you have an item that goes in and out of stock a lot and you want people to know that, hey, you do carry that item, it's just out of stock at the moment. You can just keep this enabled. Email notifications, you definitely want to keep this enabled. That way, whenever the customer gets the order, puts in the order, you're going to get an email notification. This is, I mean, really up to you, but it's definitely recommended. That way, you're going to get a notification on the app, plus you're going to get an email. So you're always going to have a track record of whenever you get your orders. Reminder for scheduled orders. You definitely want to put in a value here. We would recommend about a 2-hour heads up. So that means if somebody were to schedule an order, let's say for 2 p.m. the next day, if you put in 120 minutes, that means that you're going to get a reminder, a notification to your email, and also a push notification on the app 2 hours or 120 minutes before that order is set to be picked up or delivered. So this is your notification for yourself, and then this is the notification for the customer. You definitely want to let the customer know that, hey, your order is going to be ready in about 2 hours or be picked up in about 2 hours. So highly recommend you put something here. 2 hours is normally pretty good. You could do more or less. It's really up to you. You can customize this to however you like, but we'd recommend 120 minutes. Be sure to click save. The workflow, here is the recommended workflow to use. So business model, it's going to be a product marketplace for most people. So in this case, we're selling pizza, we're selling products. Service is only for if, like, let's say that you have a cleaning service, which we do accept. You'd want to add this as a service marketplace, but we will go through that directly with our services that we have on here. For this example, we are a product marketplace, and you want to keep this enabled, so multiple product, single services in a single cart. This means that people can add multiple products to one cart. If you turn this off, if you disable it, that means they're only going to have one item in your cart. And of course, we want to have them select as many items as possible. This may change depending on your store, but it's definitely recommended to keep this on so people can add multiple items. Okay, product multi-selection. We definitely recommend keeping this on. What that means is that when you go to the store, people will be able to add multiple products. So say if we want, 12 Coca-Colas, we can do that. Otherwise, this will be disabled and you'll only be able to add one at a time. So highly recommended that we keep this product multi-selection on. Okay, enter the URL. You definitely want to keep this empty, because if you do put it in the URL here, it'll automatically direct the user to the website. So let's just go through an example here. Let's go back to the stores. And if we were to click, so right there, where I click on this store, it's going to take us to the store within the app, right? If I were to put a URL in there, I would click here and it would redirect you directly to your web page. So that doesn't really work out, because we want people to add orders on our app and be able to get deliveries. So this is only really useful for our advertisers. So yeah, please just keep this blank. And our last option is our checkout template. So if you want to customize your checkout form, you can do so by here. So a few examples of this. So if somebody's on a checkout, at the very bottom it'll say additional information. So let's say we wanted to ask them how they heard about us. We would put that here. Now it's definitely a good idea to put this in Spanish and English, because this doesn't have a multi-language. So it's up to you how you want to do this, but it's definitely a good idea to use both languages. So for this one here, there's different options. So for this example, we would want to have them put in a text. You can make it mandatory if you want by clicking this button, and then that way the user will have to fill it out. But that's completely up to you. And let's add another one here, and then the house color. If we want to know their house color, we could do that. This is just an example. This of course can be customized, and then you can give them the option to upload a document. So we'd press save, and then that way the user will have the option to fill out this additional information when checking out. So this is completely customizable. I would recommend just keeping these completely empty, just like that. I think that's the best way to do it.